I was wondering where you were going to go with that. The game of Cassante mid for Froggy was against Team Wales. Also, can we get some people in the chat just to record how many times Yulway swears? Oh, okay. Artifact forces start the WG, stop the Taki flash hook. I like it.
What do I get from for predicting that Cassante to be mid lane on first sight?
I'll let you draft for us in Clash later. But yes, very important game. And to go back to seriousness, I do really want to be seeing Taki running around the map, finding those big hooks. Because they can be huge. And also, let's talk about Kratos, because he's back on this Kennen. And we saw him having really good success on the Kennen in game 1. But now he's not against a melee champion. He's going up against Harsmed's Jace.
This is gonna be exciting. Double ranged top laners. And Harsmed knows his way around the cannon, so once again...
Don't bring that narrative up again.
Your favorite point, of course. This is already starting off with almost no HP on either side, and both when Duran's Blade, so this can be a very volatile start to the top lane. Whoever gets to force the enemy's teleport early can really call for jungler attention and make this top lane a living hell for the other top laner.
I'm also want to have a quick check. So we're going to play more Milky mini games here, your way. How many games do you think Artifact has in his career on Yasuo?
6, 7, something like that.
It's a fun question, isn't it? 6, 7, 18.
18?
It is actually his 7th most played champion in his career.
Wow.
When those games were played, I don't know. I'm going to do a little bit of hunting to try to find out, but
no, he has definitely
proficient.
He has definitely played the occasional Yasuo in the past. Like, it's not something that's the first time for him to play. He definitely played it a few times last year as well. I wouldn't have expected 18. Year. That is quite a lot. But Guri is looking for his opportunity on Kratos.
He is. He has the Elastic Slingshot available, is level 3, so is
Kratos.
And Kratos uses the Go Zappy, and now he's going to be susceptible. Flashes out of the stretching strikes, and will be able to survive.
Actually, Flash Force is not as bad as Teleport Force in this case, I'd say. So in the 1v1, he should be fine still. Ooh, that was a close dodge. Shogun almost stunned up.
Okay, and something happened to Guri, and Kiang saying, howdy! I am the better jungler this game. First blood for Kratos.
Oh man, Harsmed is fuming with his jungler. First, the jungler is unable to bail him out of the top lane situation where he tried to trade his HP for a bait on Kratos. Then Kratos gets away with his flash, and Guri dies instantly to his top lane. So Harsmed is very angry with the rookie in the jungle, and unfortunately, Kiang strikes first this time around, so gets a little bit of the better of Guri, at least at the start of the game.
And also something really important that I feel a lot of people forget. If you're able to get a kill on a Zac early, that's their passive gone as well, which removes a lot of potential to be able to do those pesky tower dives around the map.
Oh yeah, such a good diver because the passive plopping resets the tower aggro, right? So it's a little bit like not quite as good as Elise, but almost in the same vein as Elise. Kind of like Clet in some dive situations where you just automatically drop tower aggro. So that is out of the window now, and he's really far behind in terms of experience. He's only level 3. Guri probably resigned to a little bit of power farming in the next few minutes.
So I just had a quick look at Artifact's Yasuo. His 15 of his 17 Yasuo games were played in Season 8 and Season 9. And then he's had another couple of games, one in Season 12 last year and one back in Season 10. So he's not had many Yasuo games in the last 4 years.
That's fair. Of course, the long-standing mid laner, one of our biggest veterans of the league. And still dreaming of that final appearance, because in all his years in VCS and all his good appearances in his MVP split last year, he has never managed to make a single final. So that's still the one thing he wants to accomplish. Not even win the final, just get to a final. And maybe he can put his team on his back and make the first step towards a final, which would be getting into playoffs.
I mean, getting into playoffs definitely helps in an attempt to make it to finals. Team Secret, though, looking at a Drake, which is something that would help them win this game. And right now, Team Secret are the side with priority in the river, and Saigon Buffalo won't be able to contest.
Aki posturing. He wants it.
He does. Eddie is just being a little bit careful. And that's one big thing with Blitzcrank, is a lot of the time you want to bait out the hook, because if they don't land it, this time it does land onto Zuhao. A lot of damage can come through from the deadly flourish. Zuhao still alive, as the bouncing grenade not quite going to be enough to get a kill onto Taki. And Eddie now just trading onto Shogun. Has to be careful, doesn't have his fourth shot, able to sidestep the piercing arrow. Deadly flourish won't land, and I was just wondering if Kiang would look for a potential dive, but he's just going to reset after securing the Drake.
It was definitely the playbook. It was on the cards to dive after the Dragon take, but of course the SGB bot lane doesn't let themselves get exposed that easily. Oh, Kratos, that was aggressive. Now Guri is here. No passive,
I think Kratos
remember?
knew what was coming. He was trying to turn this one around. Guri's only going to take one tower shot, and in comes a Froggy, cleans up the play, and picks up the kill.
How is Froggy everywhere all the time? Froggy is insane with his roams this series. He's back to roaming Froggy from 2021 maybe, but also keeping him up in CS, so it's kind of the evolved version of Froggy, and this is the one we want to see. This is the one where he can really be one of the best mid laners of the league.
I think Kratos knew what was coming, so I had to try to get through this wave as quickly as possible, and then not really much he can do against Froggy at the end.
Yeah, without Froggy he would have lived, so Kratos played it as well as he could. Guri kind of missing his E there was almost detrimental to the gank attempt, but fortunately bailed out by his mid laner. Froggy coming in, saving the day, and with a kill in the mid lane might actually now be in a position to threaten solo kills on the likes of Artifact.
We'll see what Froggy can do on this Cassandra. I'm still just really excited to see Artifact on the Yasuo. It's my first time seeing him on the champion. We don't often see Yasuo games in the VCS. I think maybe the last time we saw it wasn't there that 0-10 Yasuo performance back last year in spring, I want to say?
I mean, he definitely played one game in summer, right?
It wasn't Artifact, though.
Artifact played one game
else.
in summer, though. Yeah, it wasn't the 0-10 performance. There were some jungle Yasuo performances from DNK back in the day. I think it was Winter Split, maybe.
Oh, yes.
That was a little crazy. He went jungle Yasuo back-to-back and actually performed super well. He carried one of those games. But yeah, it's not a champion we see a lot
of. I had 4 games back in spring 2022. We got engaged in the mid lane. In comes Guri flying in, knocked all away though from the exposed task. And now Guri uses the ultimate himself. How much damage does Artifact have?
What is happening?
They get the kill onto Guri, but he goes back into his passive form. It's 2 kills for the side of Team Secret and 2 kills for Artifact.
It was the most confusing fight I've ever seen. I had no idea what was going on because Saigon Buffalo chained their CC so well together, but none of these champions deals any damage. So it looked cool, everyone bounced up and down, and the base damage was enough to bring them down to like 2 HP. But then nothing came of it, nothing ever followed up, and 2 kills to the Yasuo. He's off to a great start. Milky, you might get your wish.
Oh, we might... Wait, what is my wish again?
A good Yasuo game, an exciting Yasuo performance.
Yasuo game.
Yeah.
But
look at all this
Yasuo
bouncing,
game,
all the
still
CC.
exciting.
This is completely crazy from Saigon Buffalo. They landed every CC they could. If there was any damage behind them, they could have cleaned up all 3 members, but unfortunately Blitzcrank doesn't deal any damage.
Taki, all he can do is really set up the play and then leave things at that. And I think this time we can agree that Blitzcrank is a playmaking support, no matter how you want to look at it. As Zuhao now looking for a play. Can he land a dredge line? No. But this time he's not actually at fault for it because Hasmed had a very nice flash.
Yeah, I think Hasmed agreed there that he can land the dredge line, otherwise he wouldn't have flashed away.
So I've done a bit of investigating. I'm having a lot of fun with looking at my stats. So last season in spring, there were 4 games of Yasuo. Wait, I had the data and all the data's gone now. It was Nogo who had a 0-8 performance though on the champion.
Nogo, not Nugu, right?
Nogo, Nugu, does it really matter? I believe we were making the joke that it was a no-go performance. That game. Oh, Taki almost landing that dredge line.
Yeah, Froggy also immuning the Q there, Kyung, a little aggressive, but Guri, of course, is so far behind, he doesn't really want to fight at the moment, especially into the super strong Yasuo, set up by all the knockups on his side. Meanwhile, we haven't actually looked at bot lane at all, and there's no real reason to do so either. Double tier, double serrated Dirks, everyone just farming away, trying to play the game from as far away as possible. Varus against Jhin, very exciting matchup there, but instead, in the top lane river, we have the first objective fight of the game.
The Rift Herald being looked at again, Froggy very well timing the Unstoppable to stop the Dredge line from pulling him in. Will Saigon Buffalo try to contest this Rift Herald resets, much to Team Secret's annoyance, which is going to give Saigon Buffalo some time to approach the river once more. And you can see the health bars not doing particularly well for the likes of Zhu Hao and Kiang. Once again, Rift Herald started. Taki just running around looking for a potential hook angle. Rift Herald surely will be secured unless Guri way flashes forward in an attempt to steal the Rift Herald. Unable to do so. Flashing forward is Zhu Hao. However, no potential follow-up coming in from Artifact. Zhu Hao will die. Guri, though, is very low. Kratos not able to find anything with the slicing Maelstrom. Just the one kill then for the side of Saigon Buffalo. Team Secret on the run, Artifact chunked down, but I think Team Secret were able to secure the Rift Herald.
Kind of even trade there. Kratos and Froggy had a little bit of a tete-a-tete on the bot side of the fight. No one cared about those two. They just had a little dance and then walked away from each other again. Cool. Top lane life, I guess. But in the end, it's a 1-4-0 in terms of kills for Saigon Buffalo, but the objective going over to Secret. So it all comes down to how they use this Herald later on. How did Guri not die? Just, very close fight there. Even gets hooked back in again. But of course, a lot of sustain behind this Zac Blobby passive, of course, where he gets all the HP back. And Saigon Buffalo should be in a good situation to at least fight for the next dragon. Team Secret utilizing that Herald very early on to get a little bit of pressure in the mid lane.
But Taki and Guri are here in the mid lane, so Team Secret might end up pushing too far forward. This is a 3v2. Guri, though, going to take the defensive way into the lane. Rift Herald will charge forward, and it was used by Artifact, so Kiang doesn't actually get any of the gold, or the gold going into Artifact's Yasuo.
Probably exactly where they want the gold to be. Because honestly, Kiang already has his item, and here we go again.
Really good dredge line coming through into the Fate Sealed from the Yasuo. Artifact gets the kill. Now looking towards Froggy, still 3 members here of Team Secret, but Shogun and Taki are making their way back into the fray, and Team Secret won't get overly aggressive.
Is it an MVP-worthy performance, Milky, today? Artifact finally come back.
Minutes in your way.
He has come back to life, though. None of the games so far in this season have been as impressive as this one, I'd argue. Artifact really playing together with his team, so much setup for him, but he's making it work. They all picked into the Yasuo-style composition, and the Yasuo is 3-0, so it's exactly what this team planned for. First 2 dragons into their back pocket as well, and now in a really solid early lead.
Gragas Yasuo can be absolutely devastating, especially when you add a Nautilus to it. And you can't even say that Team Secret don't have enough AP, because they do have Kratos on the Kennen, who had a very, very good performance in Game 1. Although here in Game 3, Harsmed seemingly has the edge over Kratos in this particular matchup.
Well, it was pretty even throughout the laning phase, and he has a 1 kill behind him. So he should still be that late-game teamfighting menace that he was in the first game, where the game was decided with his split pushing into teleporting into the fight. So that could very well happen again. 36 minutes, I believe, was the timer for that deciding fight. This could happen even earlier this time around, because Team Secret is in such a good position with the accelerated artifact on the Yasuo. He's gonna hit 1 item, and we all know 1-2 items on the Yasuo, that's a scary power spike.
Very scary. Froggy, though, has been able to complete his first item, actually somehow ahead of... Okay, that's because Artifact has picked up a Vampiric Scepter, so kind of itemizing for different things. One thing that I do like about Kratos' Kennen, compared to Game 1, is the Rocket Belt, because that just means that you've got more mobility on the Kennen, and it gives you more ability to get into the backline compared to when you went with the Riftmaker.
Yeah, it tells me that he doesn't look to split push as much, which makes a lot of sense, because this time it could be Yasuo in the side lane instead of the Kennen, and the Kennen is much more geared towards team fighting with extra mobility. Oh, that was too far away for the Yasuo ultimate.
And the rocket grab from Taki almost lands onto Kiang, so just slightly whiffed spells from both Team Secret and Saigon Buffalo, as Froggy's just having some free time in the bottom lane to hit on an outer tower. This would be the first tower of the game. No towers have yet been taken here in Game 3.
Okay, Mulkey, now I need to quiz you on something, because this was a huge debate the last week when Zeka, the world champion, talked about Yasuo. I'm not sure, did you follow this discussion?
No.
You didn't? I thought so. So, Zeka was interviewed after playing a Yasuo game where he had 10 kills or something, and there was a certain instance in the game where something happened that he didn't expect to happen, which was related to his ultimate. So, Milky, what happens for Yasuo players, or how do you play Yasuo? How does Yasuo ultimate work when there are two separate targets that are both knocked up at the same time, but not close enough together so you can both ult them at the same time? So say Varus is left side of the tower and Hasmet is on the right side of the tower, and both get knocked up at different abilities. How does Yasuo ultimate work in that instance?
See, I would have... Does it go on to the lowest health target?
You need to decide. You can decide yourself, actually.
Oh, okay. Dredgeline, though, lands as Kratos just having a look at a potential flank angle. The first tower of the game will be secured by Team Secret. But to go back to your point, your way, the Yasuo gets to decide who he goes on.
Yeah, you can hover your mouse over the target you want.
Okay. Yeah,
and
that makes sense. Yeah.
Decker didn't know this. So in one of the instances in the game, he actually ulted the wrong target, and afterwards was interviewed about that and was like, I had no idea. And he had 10 kills in that game, in a professional game in Korea. Actually against Damwon, I believe, or DK, I should say. So
he just got knocked out as well.
Yeah, it happens. Pro player don't know everything. So let's see if Artifact gets to replicate that very funny instance.
Well, you say that, but you remember back to 2019 Worlds where Doonby played Malphite, never had a game on Malphite, was reading what the champion's abilities did as he got into game, and apparently he only picked the champion because his wife liked Malphite and wanted a world skin on it.
Yep.
It's wholesome as hell, isn't it?
It's very wholesome. I mean, did they win the game? I don't remember.
Yeah, they
probably
I
did,
think
right?
They did. Somehow. I don't think it was in finals. It was probably in. Was
group
it in?
Stage? Yeah.
It could have been in group stage, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Probably played it against one of those bad LCS teams.
Probably against GAM, honestly.
Yeah, it could have been. Was FPX in the same group as GAM?
Yeah, they were.
19?
Yep.
Oh. Fair enough.
It was back when Kiaya tried to play Klett into the Klett master himself in mid lane and got absolutely demolished. But back to our game, because those times are fortunately behind us. Kiaya is back to his realm in the top lane. And speaking of top laners, the Cannon is looking to go full AP this time around. I want to see him go highest AP build possible and just destroy Shogun in the back line. As we group up for Dragon number 3, Team Secret in a really good position to accelerate this game towards a soul.
But let's not forget, Taki, if he can find those big hooks, if he can land a hook, particularly onto Artifact, it could completely turn a fight. If he can land a hook onto Eddie, that would also be absolutely massive for him.
At the moment, both teams just posturing, looking for the opportunity. Both teams have so much engaged potential. And with Guri this far behind, he needs to be very careful at picking his fights, especially against the Yasuo wind wall. Oh, double support combat.
He goes forward, but the dredge line that lands into the explosive cast. Taki knocked up, taken down. And Artifact still has an ult, and on he goes onto Guri. No way out, surely, for Guri. Tries to flash away, but Artifact will flash in pursuit. 2 kills for Team Secret, and the jungler down for Saigon Buffalo.
That's the 5th kill of the game for Team Secret, and all 5 of them in the hands of Artifact. Artifact is putting on an all-star performance in this game. Actually the 6th kill, so I was lying to you. But I think all 6 kills are on Artifact anyway, so now that's 3rd Dragon. They're so far ahead in gold, actually much further ahead than I expected at this point in the game, and they're running away with the game. Saigon Buffalo's not finding any openings.
Attempted flash hook. I don't even think it would have worked. It would have landed onto Kiang, which is probably not the best possible solution if you are Saigon Buffalo.
really reeks of desperation. They just don't know what to do, how to penetrate this solid team composition from Team Secret. They need to disrupt this setup for the Yasuo, kind of get on top of the main carry, but how do you do that against Yasuo W, against all the protection, all the disengage and counter-engage from Team Secret, and it's getting harder and harder.
5-0 for Artifact. Kiang 006. So Kiang is the only one with 100% kill participation right now, as there was that one kill, I believe, on the top side of the map, which Artifact could, sadly for him, not be a part of.
Yeah, but he is just having such an amazing game. And I want to go back to one of our talking points from even before the series started, which is Young's way to facilitate his team, or just Kyung's identity as a rookie jungler, because he's really not looking like a rookie jungler. He's the facilitator, he's the one setting up his mid laner, and Artifact is the long-standing mid laner. You talked about him playing Yasuo back in 2018. Young was probably like 12 years old back then, right? So it's insane to see this combo work like this. The new player playing the facilitating role, playing the solid champions, the setup champions, and the old boomer with the withered hands actually putting in the performance that carries his team.
Another engage coming through into a dredge line, and this just looks absolutely devastating. The slicing maelstrom locks Froggy in place. 2 kills already for the side of Team Secret, and they aren't done. Yeah, how does that dredge line land? Where was this performance from Suhao in Game 2? But somehow Saigon Buffalo find themselves 2 kills, so it is only 2 kills for 2.
Yeah, actually a winning fight for Saigon Buffalo off the back of Hasmid power spiking on these items right now. Not really looking at his items, but just finding a really good Q onto 2 of the squishy targets. Young and Shuhao going down to Hasmid. Let's see this one again. Maybe a little bit of overfocus on 2 of the not-so-important targets, with Froggy and the Blitzcrank going down at the start, and Guri buys so much time for the poke to land from Saigon Buffalo. Somehow Zhu Hao and Kiang, yeah, that's just a double poke landing. That was the first rotation, if you think back to draft. They picked Varus Jace as their first rotation, and for the first time in this game, we see some of the potential of this combination. Just overwhelming poke from such a long range, and Hasmid suddenly slingshotted into a decent position. Can the veteran on the side of Saigon Buffalo, the longest standing member, maybe do something against the veteran on the other side?
But this is still a 4k goal lead for the side of Team Secret, and that was still 2 kills for nothing until they got way too aggressive and bit off far more than they could chew. Team Secret still on the precipice of picking up a Cloud Soul as well, and Cloud Soul for Kratos on a Kennen, probably one of the best champions to have Cloud Soul on.
For sure, it's so good. I mean, it's good on every champion, right? Because of the 15% movement speed, it's really hard to...
But not Jhin.
It doesn't even matter about the ultimate activation. I'm talking about the base movement speed you get for the rest of the game. It's so insane. People just never respect the movement speed, and it's such an insanely strong stat in the game. So it's just very good to reposition. Of course, look at the Yasuo. He's already sprinting across the map. So more movement speed will enable even better split pushing and rotations. I think Cloud Soul is almost always a really, really good one. And ultra late game, you can even sell boots when you have the Cloud Soul because of the extra movement speed. But we're very far away from that point.
There's something also really funny about seeing Prowler's Claw on a Jhin. Eddie once again going for this lethality Jhin build, just like he did, I believe, in Game 1, where it worked out relatively successfully, although this time Artifact is very clearly the carry for the team. 5-0 on this Yasuo. And again, remembering back to 2021, I believe it was Kati on the Yasuo who had a really, really good performance. I think he went something like 8-2. In that particular game, and Artifact looking to replicate a performance similar to the GAM mid laner.
And he went very defensive in terms of itemization, double lifesteal into now stopwatch as well. So not quite as high in the damage department as he could be with an IE early on. If he ever gets caught out and they can somehow kill him, then the tides could turn, and it's all about overcommitting into the backland, how Saigon Buffalo plays the kiting game. Because right now, Team Secret is so far ahead that even though their composition could also kite back, it's probably on them to initiate the fight. So I'm keeping my eyes glued onto my screen and looking at Artifact. And if he ever oversteps, then this game could suddenly turn into Saigon Buffalo's direction again.
and this is a critical point in the game. Cloud Drake is up. Sole point for Team Secret. Kratos has just had to go and catch a wave in the bottom lane, making his way up. We know how big the slicing maelstrom can be, but we also know for Saigon Buffalo and for Taki, that rocket grab, if he can find Artifact, if he can find Eddie, that will be absolutely devastating for the side of Team Secret. Froggy looking for a potential flank, but Kratos is just watching it. Dredgeline lands on it to Taki, and Froggy's not going to be able to join this because Kratos is just guarding. Taki has fallen, but so has the Shuhao. A 1-for-1, both supports falling. Shogun on to half health as in comes Froggy looking for the engage, and down goes Kiang. The jungler has fallen for the side of Team Secret. Artifact forced to flash over the wall. Saigon Buffalo win the fight in Saigon Buffalo, get the Drake.
Somehow they found the angle, and look at Artifact. Artifact was not really a factor. He has to be very careful into those frontliners that have so much CC between them, because he's essentially an ADC, right? Look at his HP bar. He's very squishy. Very good exhaust there from Taki on his dying breath, just delaying Artifact, and Shogun ever so slightly walking out of range. A game of inches, but in the end, the coordination was not quite there. Kiang probably needs to shout at Artifact there, I'm gonna ult Shogun, because if Artifact steps a little bit closer to the enemy ADC, he can ultimate on top of Shogun, eliminate the enemy ADC, and probably play from the other side of the fight. It's gonna be much harder for Saigon Buffalo to deal with that. I want to see better coordination between Kiang and Artifact, because I think there was the second ultimate there, where Kiang threw it out, and Artifact could have been able to get on top of the enemy target, but he just walked away at the crucial moment just before Kiang acted. So better communication between mid and jungle should still lead to a Team Secret victory.
Something else as well about the fight is it was very reminiscent of Game 1 in the sense that another fight that was close that Saigon Buffalo won at the start of the mid-game, but Kratos did not use his slicing maelstrom. So a large portion of the damage of the utility that Team Secret have available to them wasn't actually used in that fight. And I think if it does get used, things could go a lot better for Team Secret. The Yasuo, though, still strong. Saigon Buffalo slowly starting to claw their way back into the game, still about 4,000 gold behind Team Secret. Do they want to look for a potential fight over the Baron, or do they just wait 3 minutes for the next Drake to spawn?
That's a good question, and I think even though the 4k gold, we can see them as casters, and just looking at the overlay, this game I don't think feels like a 4k gold lead for Saigon Buffalo, or even for Secret, because a lot of the gold is actually hidden behind champions that might not need as much gold. Look at the Zac. We can't see individual gold at the disadvantages, but Zac should probably be about 1.2k, 1.5k gold behind his counterpart on the Gragas. And in terms of effectiveness in team fights, 1.5 items on Zac is probably as good as Gragas and 2 items, especially the AP Gragas. So that's a lot of the gold lead, kind of eliminated just by champion identity. Same goes for the mid lane. Of course, the Yasuo is gonna be a bigger impact champion than K'Sante if he plays everything well, but his items are super expensive, and 2 items on K'Sante makes him rather tanky already. So I think Saigon Buffalo, in terms of team fighting power, is actually closer than what the game would suggest.
Artifact looking towards Froggy again. Kiang sitting nearby, has the explosive charge available, or explosive cask available. Explosive charge, that's a Tristana ability. But no way in for Team Secret, and the Team Secret mid-jungle duo are going to have to make their way back over to the mid lane, otherwise Saigon Buffalo will have an angle to start up the Baron Nashor.
I'm just keeping one eye on Hasmid, because secretly he has accelerated so far ahead of this counterpart in the top lane. Look at his itemization. Now, he has so much ability haste, he has a lot of combos ready, he can poke for ages, and he's also not very susceptible to counter engages or even side laning into Kratos. So I feel like Hasmid could be the secret ingredient to turn around this game with all the damage behind him.
And we saw that coming into effect. Hasmid and Shogun together, so much poke can take so much health out of any member of Team Secret if both the empowered shock blast and the empowered piercing arrow land at the same time. But for now, Team Secret just going to keep on catching waves, and it does look like the plan for both teams is to fight once again over the Cloud Drake.
This one could be soul for Secret. Every single Cloud Drake that comes up could be the soul. But It also delays the game. It makes things more even. A 4K gold lead at 20 minutes is a different thing than a 4K gold lead at 30 minutes. And at 40 minutes, the 4K gold lead doesn't matter at all. So it's getting closer and closer in terms of items. The breakpoints are hit on Saigon Buffalo's side. And I think they feel confident to fight once again. They would like to have Hasmed split push a little bit more menacingly in the top side. I think they want him to hit the tower, but he also needs to be careful. If he dies, suddenly the game opens up for Secret to just win instantly and slam the door on them.
I think something else very important to mention is the fact that Artifact can play a lot more aggressively now. Has a Guardian Angel, which gives him that second life. So even if he does play aggressive, gets caught out, steps into whatever it is, it won't be devastatingly bad for Team Secret, and Team Secret can still perform well in a fight. They're now looking towards the Baron Nashor. Keep your eyes on Kratos, searching for this big flank angle. Might come across Hasmed in a sec. Doesn't get hit by the shock blast. Hasmed doesn't know that Kratos is there, that the top laners will duke it out. Kratos is forced to use the rocket belt, and the Baron is down to 5,000 health. Guri has been able to steal one Drake away already. Slicing Maelstrom now used on Hasmed.
That's a huge team fighting tool gone.
Two fights happening at the same time. Hasmed forced to flash out of the play. This means it's a 5-4 in favor of a Team Secret, but the engage comes through, and in goes Artifact. Shuhao has already fallen, but how much damage does this Yasuo have? Guri is low, so is Froggy. Hasmed resetting and teleporting into the play. Saigon Buffalo will win the fight. They get one kill for nothing. The Baron, though, cannot be started. Team Secret, though, can't get to the Drake.
They're starting to win the fights, Milky. Hasmed really, the top lane difference makes such a huge, it has such a huge impact in this game as Kratos is forced to ult just defensively to get away from Hasmed, and suddenly Saigon Buffalo are able to just get map priority over the top side. This also means they're first on the bot side. Look at them, just running at the dragon. That's dragon number 2, taken away from Secret. They're not able to get the soul quickly. The Elder Dragon is not spawning either, so the game is delayed. And the all-important decision of who wins this series, who keeps their chances of making playoffs, is delayed once more.
And right now, there's going to be so much pressure on Artifact. He had such a big lead, 5-0 on this Yasuo, but seemingly unable to convert the advantage. And when you're in this situation as a player, it's got to be so difficult, because you know that you are the win condition for your team, but you're not finding the angles. Either you don't have the setup you feel you need, you can't find the damage, you're not feeling confident enough, and every single fight you lose, it gets worse and worse and worse. Shuhao on the flank, he's spotted out by a ward. Probably looking for a way to get on top of Hasmed or Shogun. The Baron down to 2,000 health. Shuhao coming over the wall. This might be a smite fight as well. Shuhao into the backline with a slicing maelstrom. One goes down. This might be the fight that Team Secret need. The curtain call. Looking for Shogun out of the cone. Artifact, though, is low.
Dead.
Still has a Guardian Angel available. No, he doesn't. He's down. 3 kills for 1 for Saigon Buffalo. And once again, Saigon Buffalo win the fight.
Saigon Buffalo are just better in teamfights in this game, and the enemy team just can't find their key to victory. Artifact is just not able to carry like an ADC from behind. He has to commit into the enemy team. And the enemy team has so many tanks to buy so much time to knock him up constantly. They're trying to push for the game. It's the delay of the recalls on the other side. So how is that?
Stopping backs. Eddie had to flash over the Baron Pit wall, but Guri just went over the wall. Now duking it out with Eddie. Team Secret.
No way!
Saigon Buffalo will end Team Secret's hopes of getting a run going. 2-1. Saigon Buffalo take their 4th win of the split.